Welcome to Sex Crimes Defense Podcast with Chance and Jay. Chance Oberstein is a defense attorney who handles sex crimes cases in California. I'm a media professional. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not legal advice. Chance, how are you doing?
I'm doing good today. Very, very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Reading a lot of news cases, seeing a lot of headlines that I need help understanding, and we're going to go ahead and look at this Alexis Van Yates case. Now, I don't have all of the information in front of me, but my understanding is that this is a stepmom in Florida that has had sex with her stepson.
Okay. Well, that certainly is conclusory. Let's see. Let's test that. Let's take a look at what the written facts are. What's been reported by social media. Let me go through some what I think are some essential facts, and then we'll talk about them. Okay. First of all, in the press release, it says a 34-year-old stepmother from Marion County has been arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior after her husband allegedly walked in on her having sex with his teenage son from a previous relationship. Now let's test this even further. A month after the incident, the victim, the 15-year-old boy, was interviewed by a specialist at a local child advocacy center. During that interview, the victim stated that he was visiting his father in Marion County while on summer vacation and that he had sex with his stepmother, Yates, during this vacation. And it allegedly occurred while his father was at work. The victim described the alleged sexual encounter with Yates in graphic detail, which came to an end when his biological father, Yates' husband, entered the home. The victim proceeded to run into another room, and his father confronted Yates while she was naked on the couch, according to the report. Yates allegedly apologized to the victim's father before mentioning how the victim looks like a younger version of him. The day after the incident, the victim stated that he called Yates. During the phone conversation, she allegedly spoke highly about their alleged sexual encounter and mentioned that she wished his father hadn't caught them. Yates was later placed under arrest, and while in custody, she refused to discuss the incident without an attorney present. What do you get out of those facts, Jay?
Wow. While you were talking, I was able to locate the article and the arrest affidavit. And it is the information that's already out. And this is only from did you say when this occurred?
This roughly happened about a year ago in July.
Okay. Okay. Yep, and that's what the arrest affidavit says. July 26. 2024. So, based on the amount, what I'm getting is the amount of information and detail and the arrest affidavit. I mean, I'm reading a very this was a wild night these two had. And what in the article they're really focused on taking away her nursing license, which I think is okay. That's something to talk about, but just their interaction, I think, is the story.
Well, I mean, if you were reading it at first blush in social media, what were your what would stand out, and what would your conclusions be based on the reporting?
And this is where I think, for me, this podcast brings the real interest, because what I think people think and what I think are sometimes two different things.
Okay.
And I think that people read this and they're disgusted, they're outraged. The husband called her a predator. I think society will call her a predator. I'm not so sure she's a typical predator. Okay. I'm thinking more that when I read the arrest affidavit, these two had a salacious encounter, but I'm not sure she's a typical predator.
Okay, so you're looking at it from the reported facts, And the conclusion is that they had a sexual relationship. But let's test these facts. I mean, one, do we actually know whether or not her husband walked in and observed them doing anything? Look at the dynamics of this. The door opens up, the kid runs into the room, she's naked on the couch. What did he actually see? And what do you think he would be thinking? What do you think he would be thinking? He would be pissed. Okay. What was the kid thinking? And this is not their kid, it's a step kid from a broken family. Obviously, his mother was, left by this guy. Okay. And he established a new relationship with this woman. There's some dynamics here. What did he actually see? I mean, you got to really look at the dynamics of this, because his anger could be overriding his reason. Okay, why does he need to say that she apologized to him, mentioning how, his son looks like a younger version of him? Why would he actually saw what he saw? Why would he have to pile on like that?
Well, I don't understand why she would say that.
No, I'm saying the victim's father, according to the report, said that she apologized to him.
And but didn't she say, your son reminds me of you or something? I mean,
but what I'm saying is, according to him, okay, he's the one that's reporting this. This is him saying that that's what she said to him. This is, there's no corroboration for it. He's saying this is what was said to him.
I gotcha.
Why would you even need that? I mean, if he saw it first blush, he could come to those conclusions. Why would he need to substantiate it further by having her make an admission? Okay, because that's tantamount to an admission if she's apologizing to him.
Isn't this another example of, I mean, I'm assuming he was in the interrogation room or something similar when he was quoted to have said this, and maybe don't say anything? Is that where we're headed?
Well, no, the thing is, no, we're not headed there. I guess what we're headed for here is that something happened. Okay, it may have occurred. It may have come close to occurring, but whatever it was, there was something happening. Okay, he may have seen it. He may have not. Okay, he may have seen nothing. So what he's doing is he's basically creating an admission by having her apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. On the other hand, here's a kid who's from a broken home. Okay. Who's the reason for the broken home? Well, I don't know if he left that home for her. I don't know if he left the home and then met her. I don't know what the dynamic of that is, but it certainly doesn't play well with kids and their step parents.
It's a great point. And also, to what you were just talking about, the admission, he's according to the arrest affidavit, and I gotta say, I really wish I could always get a copy of an arrest affidavit along with a salacious story, is that he is yelling at her. According to him, he is screaming pretty ugly words to her. I'm not sure if this was the tipping point in their relationship.
Well, it could have been, but the idea is that the way this is written, it makes you think and conclude that he walks in and sees them actually having sex.
Agreed.
In fact, we don't know.
We don't know.
That's
You're
my
right.
point. We don't know, but he's manufactured this admission. Yates allegedly apologized to the victim's father before mentioning how the victim looks like a younger version of him. That's basically an admission that she engaged in a sexual in sexual intimacy with his son. He's saying that. Okay, if you'll notice that. And you'll also notice that the day after the incident, the victim stated that he called her, and during the phone conversation, she spoke highly about their alleged sexual encounter and mentioned that she wished his father hadn't caught them. That's also an admission.
So here's what we got to do. You got to stick around and join us for our next episode of Sex Crimes Defense Podcast, where we continue this conversation. Thank you, Chance.
All right. You're welcome.